This excerpt comes from Gwendolyn Brooks's poem titled A Bronzeville Mother Loiters in Mississippi. Meanwhile, a Mississippi mother burns bacon. And this poem is from her collection titled The Bean Eaters. This collection was written in 1960, around the time of the Civil Rights Movement. So it's dealing a lot with the differences, the racial differences between blacks and whites at the time. And my interpretation of this poem is that Brooks is writing from Carolyn Bryant's point of view. And Carolyn Bryant was the wife of Emmett Till's killer. Um, and in this specific section, I think that the character Carolyn Bryant is finally realizing that her husband wasn't in the right. I think she finally sees that Till's death wasn't justified. Um, and this shows that she's straying from the milk white maid, the damsel in distress archetype that she's portrayed as in the very beginning of the poem. Um, and I'm going to be talking about the structure in this section and how it shifts from talking about Till to talking about her husband, the childlike language that Brooks uses, and then finally the repetition used in this excerpt to create like a parallel between Till and Roy Bryant, Carolyn Bryant's husband. Um, so first, the structure. As you can see in the very beginning, right here, the section starts off with the word but, and this already indicates that there's going to be a shift from how it was before. And what I noticed is there's kind of a shift in tone. So in this section, she starts off with more of a questioning tone, like, did we do the right thing by killing Till? And I think that here she's realizing that Till was just a child. Um, uh, she says here, he was too young to be dirty, and too young to have lost every reminder of his infant softness. So I think she's realizing that he was a child. He didn't really do anything wrong. And uh, you know, he's just 14. He's still a baby. He didn't do anything wrong. So I think this is like her motherly instincts coming through and showing that she she's guilty, you know, which is different than before. She's talking about how um, she was a milk white maid and how she was in danger, but now that she's really thinking about it, she wasn't in danger at all. Till didn't do anything. Um, he's just a child. He was just playing around. And then I think right here, there's another shift in the poem because Carolyn Bryant starts talking about her husband instead of Till. She says the boy must have been surprised, for these were grown-ups. Um, the grown-ups that she's talking about are Roy Bryant, her husband, and the man who helped kill Till. Um, uh, she goes from, this infant softness right here, to a baby full of tantrums. And this is kind of like a contrast between actual infant softness, being Till, and a baby full of tantrums, which is her husband acting out and throwing a tantrum. He doesn't have this infant softness. He's just a big baby overreacting for something so minor, which was Till whistling at his wife. So now I'm going to move into the childlike language. I think that this language, such as infant softness, and here she calls him a boy, a baby full of tantrums, and that little foe right here. I think that this is, these words kind of have like a motherly connotation. Mothers usually call their kids boys, uh, are babies full of tantrums. Uh, Mothers are always going to see this infant softness. Um, so I think, these words kind of show that Carolyn Bryant, or at least her character, was able to uh, relate more to children. She's gonna, you know, she's a mother. She's gonna be more inclined to, take care of her children instead of justify the murder of another child. And I think that this is throughout the whole poem, she's got kind of this fantastical metaphor going on, with her characters, the Fine Prince, which is Roy Bryant, the Dark Villain, which is Emmett Till. Um, and these are some of the specific examples in this excerpt. The Dark Villain. And down here she's got the Fine Prince. And here's another reference to it, unhorsed, which I interpret this to be, Till was unhorsed. He wasn't threatening. He didn't have any weapons, but it's still playing into that overall fantastic language, extended metaphor. And I think that this kind of gives the whole poem, like, especially this excerpt, a childlike view. She's a mother playing into her motherly instincts, talking about children, and just feeling kind of protective of all children. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the technique in the poem. So as you can see, there's a repetition of undisputed breadth, undisputed height, and that's again down here, right here, breadth and height of mature solidness. So up here, she's talking about how Till lacked these qualities. He was still a child. He wasn't tall. He wasn't big. And down here, she's talking about how her husband does have these qualities. So she's kind of creating a parallel, and kind of comparing them by saying, her husband was a big baby who, could control his quality or could control his actions, and Till was just a child who didn't really know better. Let's see. And again, there's repetition of hacking down, which is right here, and hack down right here. And I think this kind of shows Carolyn Bryant's disgust. She feels the need to say hack down twice, which kind of has like a brutal, ruthless connotation. I think this shows that, she's changed from this damsel in distress to kind of being disgusted with her Fine Prince, who was supposed to save her, but really just made everything worse. And I think this kind of shows that she's disgusted with him completely. In conclusion, I think the overall theme of this is that a mother's love has no bounds. Carolyn Bryant didn't care, or at least her character in this didn't care the race of Emmett Till. She just knew that he was a child he needed help, and no one was there for him. So I think she feels guilty that she wasn't able to stop her husband. And I think that Brooks wanted Bryant to feel this way. Obviously, there's no way of knowing if Bryant truly felt this way, but I think this is how Brooks wanted Bryant to feel, and thought that's how she would feel just because she was a mother.